What's going on? We are back for another react. Happy Sunday to y'all out there. This is Robbie. Let's get to it. So this one is going to be coming from June Lee and Wear Testers. Why NBA players are choosing Chinese sneakers. I'm not going to lie. It's quite a few cats that are wearing sneakers that are Chinese brand. I know Steph Curry's one, Kyrie Irving, and Jokic. In fact, they're in the thumbnail. And I think also Dwayne Wade, he was wearing Li-Ning. That's like the biggest one of all of the sneaker brands out there in China. But I'm curious to see why a lot of them are switching over. I mean, considering like me, I'm a Nike head. I'm Nike all the way through and through. Not really too much into Adidas. I mean, I wear a pair of shell toes, but I'm curious to see what's going on. Let's not waste no time. Let's get to this video.
For nearly 2 decades, Stephen Curry has been one of the most important athletes in the sneaker industry. He changed the way basketball is played, built Under Armour into a legitimate basketball brand, and reportedly turned down hundreds of millions of dollars to stay there. So when news broke that Steph was leaving Under Armour, most people assumed that he'd be going to Nike, because that's just how it's always been. Or maybe he'd surprise people and go to Adidas, Puma, but instead, he chose a Chinese sneaker company.
Li-Ning.
And if you're not a sneaker nerd, that probably sounds insane. But if you ask the people who actually obsess over basketball shoes, the people who test them, review them, and play in them every day, Steph's decision wasn't surprising at all.
I already knew that he was going with them or Anta, like those were the top two.
This story goes way bigger than just basketball. Because for generations of Americans, made in China meant something very specific. Cheap. Disposable. Because Steph's decision is about one of the biggest changes happening in the world right now. The moment China stopped being the world's factory and started becoming one of the world's most important innovators. To see how far all of this has come, you have to go back to a time where all of this sounded like a joke. It started 20 years ago with a player that most people don't remember, with a shoe that you couldn't even buy in the United States. The story starts here, November 2005. A guard named Damon Jones checks into a Cavaliers game. Most people don't remember him. He scored a few points a night, most of the game spent sitting down, the kind of player who passed through the league without leaving much of a mark. Except for his shoes.
Bench player.
Damon Jones was the first NBA player to wear a Chinese brand on an NBA floor, Li-Ning. And there was something strange about them. You couldn't buy them here, and they weren't sold in the United States.
See, here's the problem with this particular type of sneaker. It's the silhouette. Well, not even so much silhouette, it's just the design. You know, people got to understand that growing up here in America, whoever is the top of the top in terms of brands, clothing, that's just what it is. And Nike did a great job at embedding themselves in people's psyche and their psychology. I watched a video on this about big brands and what they do. Nike dumped a lot of money, millions, into their marketing throughout the 90s. And then they had Jordan. Jordan was phenomenal. Winning championships back to back. They acquired Tiger Woods. Who else? Penny Hardaway. So they were just dominant. And then here comes a brand like Li-Ning. Now, I'm sure as far as the tech in the shoe, it's amazing, but it just does not have that swoosh logo, man. You got to understand, it's like swoosh, the Mercedes-Benz logo, Lexus logo, like all these different things. It's something psychological. In fact, I know I'm stopping the video early. I learned this in psychology years ago. It's called classical conditioning. Look that up. Basically, what it means is what a company will do is if they want to market something to you, they will use a outside entity to draw your attention. Like if you're driving down the road and you see a billboard that's advertising a Chrysler van, they may put Mickey Mouse or Bugs Bunny on that billboard driving that Chrysler van or whatever. What that then does to you, it plays on your psychology because you're like, you can associate that character to a memory from when you were a kid, like, oh, this is Bugs Bunny. So that's going to pique your curiosity, especially if you're in the market to buy a car. You are more likely to probably buy that because they attached something to you that's sentimental that you remember. So just thought I'd throw that out there if y'all didn't know that. You know, little educational moment, but let's continue.
In China, though, he was a star. billboards, his own logo, a wax statue of him standing in the company's stores. The signing had nothing to do with the shoe. An American in the NBA was a credential. And Damon Jones on a basketball court told a buyer in Beijing that Li Ning belonged next to the brands that had LeBron and Yao Ming. He was a billboard with a jump shot. If the name rings a bell now, it's probably not for the basketball. In April 2026, Damon Jones became the first person to plead guilty in the largest gambling scandal in NBA history, selling inside information on LeBron James to bettors, running cards at rigged poker games. But in 2005, none of that mattered, because what mattered was the shoes were in America, in the NBA, even if most people didn't notice them. And the people who did notice them had a very specific reaction.
Back then, like the one guy wearing not Nike, like you're like, what are you wearing?
That's Chris Chase. He runs the YouTube channel Wear Testers, where he reviews
Shout outs
sneakers,
to
primarily
Nightwing.
from a basketball performance
I've been
perspective.
following.
A few years later, Li Ning made its
I've been following him for years, as far as in the sneaker culture. Because if y'all go back and look on my channel, I used to do sneaker reviews, and so yeah, he was one of them ones that was on it early. You know?
first real run at the American market. They signed Baron Davis, a Warriors All-Star, and put the shoes in stores in the Bay Area.
I remember that shoe being available in the Bay Area exclusively at Champ Sports, and they went from their like $119 retail price and dropped all the way down to $999. Like it was wild. Like nobody would buy them.
By 2008, the two words stamped on the box, made in China, carried 30 years of meaning. That meaning started in the factories. When Deng Xiaoping opened China at the end of the 1970s, China became the floor of global manufacturing. The whole arrangement ran on two things: low wages and scale nobody else could match. China built the thing cheaper than anywhere else could. And by the mid-2000s, it made roughly 6 of every 10 shoes on Earth. At the peak, more than 60% of Nikes. But in order to understand how these Chinese basketball shoes became such a massive force in the NBA, you have to look at this massive turning point. In 2015, Anta signed Klay Thompson, half of the Splash Brothers, one of the best shooters alive.
There was memes galore, because like there's this one meme with, it's not even his shoe, it's just a shoe colored up in Warriors colors.
Klay Thompson looking like, what are those? Yeah, you could probably make the case that he probably wanted to sign with the likes of a Nike or an Adidas because, again, the logo is pivotal. The design, the silhouette, it's pivotal. If this were a Nike, he wouldn't probably be looking at it like that. If it had a swoosh on it, he would be like, okay, I don't really care for the silhouette, but yeah, it's like, nah, them ain't it. Yo,
And
why
this
is this
dude
not
looks
working?
like he's just not impressed in the picture. And everybody ran with that, being like, Clay signed with this Chinese brand and he
But I bet you the tech in that shoe is bar none some of the best. Like there's no other sneaker on the market, at least at that time, that could probably hold a candle to that. His feet probably felt like they were in heaven. That's why he was able to go crazy on the court like he was.
hates them and all this stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. They put out his first product. I get a hold of it and it was pretty basic. You know what I mean? Like it is what you would expect. It got the job done, but it was basically like a lower tier Hyperfuse if we're going to compare it to like a Nike shoe. And a Hyperfuse, well, that wasn't anything special. According to American consumers, it's one of the greatest, and it's a full-blown plastic shoe. So it's like this is what I mean by like the mind has like I don't know how people are able to be like, well, it's got a swoosh on it, so it's got to be quality. It's like, bro, it's plastic. But then they win a title.
Again, it's classical conditioning. That's why. I don't know why my space bar is not working.
And all of a sudden, like you've got eyes everywhere on this core 3, you know, you got the Splash Bros and all that stuff. So they really just got lucky that they signed somebody like that, where the Bay Area is strongly attached to its programs like this. And so
Yeah.
when the next shoe came out, it was a definite upgrade. And I noticed it like instantly. I was like, hell, these are way better than the first one. Like they must have reinvested, being like, see, they could see that the
Dang,
product that
man.
they just
Nightwing was young as hell. That man all grayed up now. We getting old, man. We getting old.
invested in is elevated. And so with that, you got to get them championship caliber product. And then the third shoe and everything else afterwards, like I was like, yo, this is crazy.
A Chinese signature shoe had stopped being a punchline. It was genuinely good, and suddenly, on the feats of NBA players, you start to see more Chinese basketball shoes pop up on a season-by-season basis, in part because These companies were throwing money at NBA players and giving a lot of people opportunities to get signature sneakers that wouldn't have that opportunity otherwise. Before we get to how all of that turned around for Chinese basketball shoes, one thing. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers before the end of the summer, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. This channel has never taken any sports gambling ads, and in today's media landscape, that means turning down a lot of money. And the only reason I can keep making these videos is because of people like you. And right at the same time, something was starting to go wrong for the American shoe companies that these Chinese basketball shoe companies were being measured against. For 30 years, the swoosh did the work. It didn't matter what the shoe was made of or what it cost. The logo meant quality, and that was the end of the conversation. That belief was the most valuable thing any American sneaker brand owned, and it was starting to crack. Once the shoe on the other side was genuinely good, the logo had to compete on the actual product, and that is the exact moment a player can do something that used to be unthinkable. He can leave. And at Nike, Kyrie Irving was not a role player or a fading name. His shoe was a real performance shoe that also crossed straight into the culture.
This is stuff where like only people in the 90s growing up would have worn that casually, not today, you know what I mean? The way that, you know, a Michael Jordan or a Charles Barkley or whatever used to back when we were growing up.
Kyrie was Nike's best-selling athlete. And then in October 2022, Kyrie posted a link to an anti-Semitic film. The Brooklyn Nets suspended him, and the next day, Nike suspended its relationship with him and canceled his next signature sneaker, the Kyrie 8.
I remember
By
this.
that December, it was over. 8 years, done. And if you set aside the controversy and the politics of everything that happened with Kyrie, there was something rare in that moment. The player who sold the most basketball sneakers in America was suddenly a free agent, not at the back end of his career, but in the middle of his prime. Kyrie could have signed anywhere that would have had him. He signed with Anta. Anta had landed the most valuable name in sneakers, and they understood exactly what they landed.
It was almost like an instant game changer. I mean, Clay was one thing, but then, I mean, Kyrie's on a whole nother level. The dude's got sauce for days. You brought over his huge audience and put all eyes on Anta. So like Anta really had to come in strong. Like they could not fumble the first shoe, and I don't think that they did. People want to wear his stuff off court because, I mean, it's Kyrie. The products just kind of got better and better as things went along. Like Kyrie's a great athlete, so like he demands great things out of his products, and so like you knew that it's performing well and you're able to afford it, and it was always just kind of attainable.
And the brand that used to live in the bargain bin opened up a flagship store in Los Angeles. And as someone who has watched Chris's channel for 10, 15 years, I noticed that something had flipped in the way that he was reviewing basketball sneakers. The Chinese brands were no longer just this odd curiosity off to the side, and they weren't just the competition that Nike was facing. Nike was being measured against the quality of the Chinese basketball sneakers. Chris's positive reviews of these shoes played a role in boutiques like Extra Butter, one of the best streetwear stores in New York, to start stocking these shoes.
When these trusted voices, right, are attesting to the quality and to the performance of your product, I think that really helps the customer kind of get on board.
Which brings us to this question. How did a sneaker company that used to not be able to sell sneakers for $9.99 suddenly become the innovators for the biggest basketball players on the planet and the shoes that they wear?
I'm going to tell you why. It's because, for one, these factories, they all got the blueprints. They all got the materials, the bounce, all of these different things that go into a shoe. They all talk to each other. You know what I'm saying? So they are able to not necessarily take too much of the tech that's in Nikes and stuff like that, but they're able to mimic those materials and designs and bring it into their shoes and things like that. And then two, I think it's also because they give the athlete a little bit more say in how the shoe is to be designed, the silhouettes, the marketing, the packaging, all of that. They get a say in that. Something that you don't really get too much with, I think, the likes of a Nike or an Adidas. I could be wrong, but yeah, the thing is with Nike, you have to pretty much be a basketball or athlete god at this point in order to get signed to Nike. Well, I can't even say that because they did acquire Ja Morant, and Ja is a former shell of himself. He hasn't been playing lights out like he was just 3 years ago. So I don't know what they're going to end up doing with that, how long they're going to keep him on payroll or keep making shoes for him. But I think that's really what it is. These Chinese brands are just really more innovative in terms of how they market, what they're selling, the materials. That's why a lot of these basketball players are switching over, you know? And it just sucks because, yeah, Nike's always been king for years.
But this is what changed in China during that time. 3 decades building everyone else's shoes, the molds, the materials, the supply chains, the tooling. China didn't have to learn how to manufacture a great basketball shoe. It already did it every day for Nike and Adidas. The only thing it had never done was put its own name on top.
They're real quick with it, and now they're outpacing, like when we're talking about like technology and innovation with.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think when it comes to, you know, these shoes, them being made in China, you got to know that a Chinese brand of sneakers is going to get priority over a Nike or an Adidas. I know Adidas is from Germany, but Nike is an American brand. You best believe if a Chinese company comes in there, they're going to get like first dibs. And they got all of the sauce, all of the tips and tricks and everything that come with it to make their shoes. There's probably stuff that they know that a company like a Nike doesn't even know. You know what I'm saying?
In like a category, like a footwear category, like they're outpacing these other brands. They're making things better and faster than anybody can keep up with.
The factory that used to make all of these sneakers suddenly became the lab where innovation was happening for the first time. And at the same time, American brands were starting to play things safe. In the past, Nike had that swoosh tax, the logo that made a plastic shoe feel premium. On the American side, that logic had quietly curdled into something else.
Whereas with a mainstream brand here, like a Nike, Adidas, sometimes when you're getting what you pay for, and that's how we like correlate it in America, but like you're not really, because if you go somewhere else, you're getting what you're wanting and you get to pay for it. Like it's like you get to save, you know what I mean? So like it's pretty weird. And so it's like if we're comparing just apples to.
Okay, so here we go. This is what I'm talking about. I actually own a pair of the Ja 3s. I got the Jurassic Park pair. Now I will admit, I get so many compliments on that sneaker. Every time I'm wearing that, I'm in a Walmart or a store, cats are like, yo, man, those are some hard shoes. And I'm just kind of bugged out because I'm like, yo, they sitting on the shelves, but I guess nobody's really checking for them like that. But hey, I don't see too many people wearing the Ja 3s, the Jurassic Park joint. So I'm happy about that. I feel like I'm in a bubble to myself. But let's just look at this here. The Ja 3, $135. It's got the Zoom X phone. Now, I will also admit, those Ja 3s, they are hella comfortable. They got a lot of bounce. So if you are a ball player and you want that like bounce and that when you come back down to earth and you want it to be able to redistribute that energy, this does a good job at that. The Wade All City 14, $125, $10 cheaper. Let's see. You're getting super boom foam, stabilizing cage, TPU plate. Interesting. And I think that's Lining or Anta, one of the companies. But you're getting 3 noticeable features compared to the one feature you get with the Nike pair, and they want $10 more. So that's an interesting take. Wow. I don't know what y'all doing, Nike, but y'all better fix this.
Apples, why would I spend $115 on a subpar product when I could spend $115 on something that gets me everything? Brand new line called the Gamma. Like these shoes are like super shoes. Like the way that you would think of like a $400 marathon shoe, where like that shoe is built specifically for that long ass race. This shoe is built for speed and agility, you know what I mean? And that's their $200 shoe. That thing blows any other $200 shoe out of the water. It's so good that they have their own resale market. People over there can't even get the shoe, and they're reselling for $400, $500, $600. It's insane.
As an extra butter buyer, I wouldn't have even entertained, right, bringing on a Chinese sneaker brand. I don't think it was viewed as cool, probably low quality, right? There were a lot of negative connotations around that.
See, my generation, us millennials, early Gen Z, and probably a little bit of Gen X. Nike was the standard. You could throw Adidas in there, Pumas, who else? Yeah, those are pretty much the main ones coming up in the 90s, early 2000s. Like if it had nothing to do with those brands, you were not cool. Later on, as I got to high school, going into college, the like mid late 2000s, that's when Vans started popping up everywhere and Vans became cool. Now I know Vans are from the West Coast and they was probably wearing them over there already, but I'm talking about for us kids who are over here on the East Coast. We were not wearing Vans like that, at least in urban culture. Then when the song got my Vans on, but they looked like sneakers. When that came out, what's the name of that group? My cousin Patrice knows. If you're watching this, cuz, what's up? Uh, I think they were called the Pack. I think that was what they were called, the Pack. They was wearing that. And then it just became cool. This was the MySpace days. If you was there, then you know what I'm saying? You had to be there. But yeah.
That type of product. Where it is now, I don't even think those ideas are even questioned, right? I think that whole conversation's out the door.
But the exact thing that happened to sneakers is happening across the economy at the same time. The cars, the drones, the phones, the country that spent a generation as the chief factory used everything it learned there to start building out the companies it used to build for. Because the thing that happened in sneakers happened everywhere all at once. In 2011, an interviewer asked Elon Musk about a Chinese car maker called BYD.
You don't see them at all as a competitor?
No.
Why is that? I mean, they offer a lower price point.
I don't think they have a great product. I don't think it's particularly attractive. The technology is not very strong.
In 2025, BYD sold more electric cars than Tesla, more than anyone on Earth. A lineup running from a $7,000 city car to luxury sedans, most of the parts built in-house. With drones, one Chinese company...
This is what y'all gotta understand, man. It's like, what do you think you telling? Like, you're not telling us nothing. Who you think you talking to? You come to us to have your products made. We have all of the specs, all of the blueprints, the instructions, the materials, the bill. We have it all here. So for you to think that you saying something else, oh, we don't make a good product, we'll show you better than we can tell you because we make your shit. You know what I'm saying? Who you think you talking to?
DJI makes roughly 8 of every 10 consumer drones on the planet and sets the benchmark everyone else is measured against. It got so far ahead that America stopped trying to outbuild it and started trying to ban it. With phones, America hit Huawei with sanctions designed to end its phone business, and nearly did. So Huawei engineered its own chips at home under the blockade and clawed back. Today, a Chinese flagship charges fully in about 20 minutes. An iPhone takes closer to 90. And last year, a Chinese startup almost nobody had heard of released an AI model that matched America's best, trained for a fraction of the cost, on the very chips America had tried to keep out of its hands. In a single day, it erased nearly $600 billion from one American company. The largest one-day loss in the history of the stock market. One investor called it AI Sputnik moments.
A lot of people.
And this is what I'm saying. Like, this is deeper than sneakers, just based off of this, because he did kind of take the video down another rabbit hole, but it does speak to another conversation in that America, we ain't as far advanced as we think we are. We are really behind in the times. You feel me? We say that this is the greatest country in the world because it's a first world country in terms of being able to get things that you need and having things serviced faster than you would in, say, a third world country. You might experience your water going out and it being out for the whole damn day in another country, maybe longer than that. Whereas here, if the water goes out, you'll be notified and they give you an ETA on when it will be back on. And then you can always go somewhere if you need to get some water, if that makes sense. But that's not the case for everybody. But getting back to this, yeah, this is definitely something deeper than just shoes. It just speaks to the fact that America is not as far in advance as they think they are. We are really behind, but we talk like we're just the best thing on the block. And we're really not. But I think other countries like, we'll let y'all have it, but y'all really ain't who y'all think y'all are. Y'all think y'all the most popular kid in class. You're not.
Here in the States, never been overseas.
And it's like America is that kid, and I know I keep stopping the video. I'm going to let it go after this, but America is like that kid in class who's just buff and cool and gets all the girls, but yet he gets maybe another person to do their homework because he's not the smartest. He just has the looks. So he's attracting everybody. But when it comes to just being intelligent and just knowing how to navigate, he doesn't have it. That's really what America is, so to speak. But hey, I live in America. I was born and raised here, so I'm part of it.
So they don't
I'm gonna let it rock out
understand
now.
what's over there. When you go over there, it's not just a different world. They're like if you thought New York was dope, nah, bro. Like yeah, there's parts that are like not like as elevated and stuff, but the other parts where the tech is, bro, like they're so far like ahead of us, like it's insane.
And that's how you arrive at the moment of Steph Curry going to Li Ning. June 2026, the greatest shooter who ever lived leaves the American brand he spent 13 years building, turns down more money to do it, and signs with Li Ning.
For me, I knew as soon as I wore the Wade 12 the first time, I was like, this is the best shoe of the year by far. And no shoe ever came close to it. And then I watched him lace a pair up, and I was like, oh, he's about to have hella fun tonight. You know what I mean? Because that shoe is so smooth. This guy's job is to go out there and win basketball games. His job is to get buckets. He's not caring about what you're going to wear with jeans.
Exactly. See, for somebody like a Steph Curry, he's thinking about his career and the longevity, him being a point guard at 6'3". He's like, look, I got to try to continue playing basketball, try to stretch my NBA career as much as I can, make as much money as I can, ball out, play lights out, go crazy. I can't do that in a pair of Adidas or a pair of Nikes. You know what I'm saying? And so he's like, look, I need to go where I know I'm going to not only get a good performance shoe, but I'm not going to be worrying about my ankle rolling or anything like that, tearing my ACL. The shoes have to have that tech built in. And that is something that Nike hasn't really been doing, I think, in the past couple of years. Like this Zoom X thing is cool, but what else you got?
Tomorrow, or what you're wearing to the office, that's his office. When he goes out there and he's able to not think about what he just did after tying his shoes and just play, like that's the best feeling ever.
The defections aren't stopping. Take Nikola Jokic, 3 MVPs, a finals MVP, one of the 5 best players alive. In 8 seasons at Nike, they never gave him a signature shoe. His teammate Eric Gordon is on 361. So was Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. So was Spencer Dinwiddie. This past season, there were a record 30.
Let me see. Top 10 brands by minutes played, NBA regular season. Let me see. Okay. Nike number 1 at 347,045 minutes. Okay. Let's see. Well, Nike's always going to be in the lead, at least for now, yeah. Skechers made the list. If y'all know, OG Anunoby, shout outs to my Knicks in 5. He was wearing a pair of Skechers when he tipped that shot in. So Skechers is definitely about to probably see some sales increase. Lening's on there, 361, Curry, Puma. I know LaMelo Ball, he's down with Puma. Let's see. New Balance, Kawhi Leonard's, he signed a New Balance, and there's some other players I know that are with New Balance as well. Can't think of the names. I'm not good with names. But this is interesting to see who's getting time on the court. And it just goes to show you that if this was maybe like the 90s, like late 90s, Nike probably was the only, and Adidas, those were like the only 2, and Jordan, those were the only 3 that you really saw on the court. Now we're in a day and time now where you got all these different brands, man.
3 signature sneakers across 16 brands, and more of them are wearing names that 20 years ago were the joke. So why is this happening in the first place? It's the same reason why the biggest shoe company on earth is having its worst time since 1997.
Describe them as like lost. Like I just feel like they're lost. I don't feel like they know exactly who they're catering towards right now. Like I feel like they're trying to get like the streetwear people, but it's like you have those shoes already. Like you have the retro. Preferring shareholders over consumers. But then like a consumer will start to notice like, oh, this is a dumbed down product. And so we start to lose interest. People are not stupid. Some people clearly just have their brand bias, and that's fine. But a lot of other people can see that things are, I guess, greener on the other side.
If you want to learn more about Nike's struggles over the course of the last few years, make sure to check out my video on the rise of the dad shoe. I go into Nike's history deeper there. But if you strip it all the way down, Nike is a company that has forgotten what made it special in the first place. athletes were using it because they were the best performance shoes. And when the best athletes are using your performance shoes, they gain an aura of being cool because the kids want to be like the best athlete.
I know the video. You know what? I'm gonna let the video play and then I'm gonna give my thoughts.
And that's how stuff crosses over into fashion. 20 years ago, a Chinese basketball shoe walked onto an NBA floor and everyone asked, what are those? We're still asking that question, but now we're asking if we should be wearing those in the first place. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We're on a path.
All right, shout outs to him. Let me go ahead and like the video. So I'm gonna say this in closing because this video's at 30 minutes. We gotta wrap this up. Got more videos to do, but I'll say this in closing. With Nike, they're really in a rough spot right now, crazy time right now, because the majority of their consumers are not athletes. They're just casual people that wear shoes, and a lot of them like to wear their retro shoes. Now, the sneaker stores, I was just in Hibbert Sports today. A lot of the shelves are filled with a bunch of retros. I seen they had the Freshwaters in there, the Volts. They had the foams, the black with the Volt swoosh foams in there. They got the Jaws. They got a lot of stuff that you can select from. But I think it's that they got so many people that are not into sports that are wearing shoes. So you got that. And then you got athletes that play basketball. And it's like, okay, we're trying to cater to so many people. It's like, what do we do? Because Michael Jordan was the anomaly. He was like really the only basketball player with a few others that could actually wear a sneaker that people wanted to wear casually. You don't really see that. Most people that are wearing basketball sneakers now are really wearing them to play ball. They're not wearing them casually like that. Most people are wearing retros and stuff. So Nike is just like, do we dump millions of dollars in trying to build new tech? Now, me personally, I think they should because, like I said, them Ja 3s, they're very comfortable and they look good. I get compliments on them all the time. So they should probably run with that, but then infuse some other tech and things like that. Maybe see what these Chinese brands are doing. You know, talk to the athletes, see what they want, what will make them comfortable. Like, that's all a part of innovating. They forgot how to innovate. You know, they got so wrapped up in the 90s because the 90s was just like a golden time for Nike. Like, they couldn't miss the 95s, all the Jordans, the Penny Hardaways. Like, they were just coming out with bangers. And then came the 2000s, things just changed. Things changed. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think. This video is long enough. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Make sure you check that like button, take the subway, and be sure to sound up in the comments so your asses is kicked out. That being said, it's your boy Robbie. To the next video, we out.